Are you losing opportunities because you don't know how to follow up effectively with prospects that you've delivered proposals and information to? Do you get ignored when you send information back to prospects and wonder why they're not getting back to you? Are you frustrated at being in a position where you send emails and they just get ghosted by the potential buyer you thought you could do business with? There is a reason why it's happening. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to win business through prospect follow-up. I'm going to show you a simple email to use that can give you the better chance of getting a result from the prospect. My name is James White, I'm a sales expert. Let's have a look at the video and make sure we give you the information you need to send emails that get better responses with your prospect follow-up. So you've had a really good meeting with a prospect and you've even sent them a proposal, but you've sent some information to them and you've heard nothing. And then you then go and try and follow up with an email that tries to rekindle the light, tries to get them on board. But most of the time, and I see so many of these emails, they're lame, they're selfish, and they're boring. They basically just don't mean anything. They're focused on what you want as a seller, and the reality is the prospect just thinks not interested. I see typical examples of emails like this. This is an example of the typical email I see. An email like this, subject line, following up. Oh, wow, boring. What it says, "Hi Sheena, I wondered if you had a chance to look at the proposal I sent through last week." What a stupid question to ask the buyer. If they'd have had a chance to look at the proposal or that keen to sign up, they would have come back to you and said, "Yes, change my world." It's not going to work. "We would love to see if we could work together." Of course you want to work with them because you're thinking about your back pocket and the commission you're going to earn. But what does the buyer really think about that? Do they actually look at that and go, "Oh, that's a really helpful email. I'm going to look at that and think, yeah, I'm going to take action"? No. That email does nothing. It's selfish, it's boring, and serves only you and not the actual buyer themselves. Here's a better example of an email that I would use. So this is the email that I'd be more inclined to use. And by the way, before I start talking about this email, I wouldn't use this email as a follow-up to a new prospect. It's too long, it isn't going to get their attention. But this is ideal for a prospect you've already had a conversation with and already in a discussion with to hopefully try and move things forward. The subject line would be something like this: "I found something you will find useful." Why is that going to be helpful? It's going to make the buyer think, well, I've seen that person before, I know who James or Tom is in this case, what's he found useful for me? It's going to create a hook, it's going to create some curiosity. And we want to be in a position where in the deluge of emails they get, especially from potential buyers, I'll stand out. Here's what I'd say in the email. "Hi Sheena, I'm sure you have had a busy week. You're being respectful of their time. You're understanding the fact they've got lots going on, and you're trying to say, I know that you may not have had a chance to look at what I wanted you to." It's a polite way of saying, I know you're busy. How did that lunch appointment with your key supplier go? What that's doing is showing to the buyer you remembered part of the conversation you had. And of course, in this conversation, Sheena had said she was having that discussion with the buyer. It shows you've remembered. It shows you've absolutely thought about what's happening, and you haven't just thought about what's right for you, but you've remembered things about her. Small things that you remind prospects about in conversations you've had can go a long way towards them feeling an affinity towards you. The next part of the email is this: "When we spoke, you mentioned a problem with X. In your conversations with Sheena, if you've had the conversation the right way and looked at all my other videos, you'll have asked her lots of questions to find out what's driving her, what's really getting on her nerves, what's causing her pain and challenge. And if you'd have summarised that so she's in a position to say, yeah, these are the challenges I've got, then hopefully she's going to resonate with whatever the problem that you indicate in this email. It should be something that hopefully she's going to think, yeah, that's still my issue, that's still a concern I've got." The next part of the email says this: "I will call next Thursday at 4 p.m, but here is a resource which others in your role have found useful." Two really key parts to this email. "I will call next Thursday at 4. What it does is it indicates to her that you're going to make a call at that time, and the key thing you're then going to do is put that in your diary and call her at that point. What it says to her is you're going to commit to doing something, and buyers like to know that you as a salesperson will commit to your promises. But what it's also going to do is if she can't actually make that time at 4 p.m, she might come back to you and say, "I can't do Thursday at 4 p.m, but I can do Friday at 2. It's going to get a response, which is what you're looking for. But the other most important thing here is a resource which others in your role have found useful. Or you might adjust that to say, here's a resource which actually helps solve some of the problems that you've indicated. What we want to do is go back to the challenges and issues that Sheena has got and give her some information. Give her something she's going to find useful, that she's going to find valuable, so that she doesn't think you're following up with a selfish intent, but with an intention to really help her. And guess what? The law of reciprocity is a critical thing for us to understand in sales and selling. A number of years ago, a sociologist did an experiment where he sent 600 Christmas cards to people he didn't know. And guess what? 200 people replied back to him and sent him a Christmas card back, even though they had no idea who he was. The reality is when we give something to someone, it increases our chances of getting a response back and our chance of getting success within that proposal or communication. What we've also got as the final part of the email is food for thought ahead of us speaking next week. Look forward to talking on Thursday. Best wishes, Tom. So it indicates that you're going to try and make that conversation happen and gives her food for thought, something to consider. You're not being pushy. You're not saying, oh, can we do business together? Can you help me hit my number? I want to do work with you. It's focused on the buyer and what's important for the buyer, not what's important for you as a salesperson. The reality is I see so many emails that are just boring, lame, selfish, driven by a selfish desire from the seller to do what's right for them, not what's doing right for the buyer. So if you want to win business, if you want to prospect effectively, if you want to engage in the right way, of course you've got to have the right meetings, but use emails like this, not the email that we had at the start, and you're going to give yourself a far greater chance of securing an opportunity and hopefully Sheena coming back and saying, hey, let's do some work together. My name is James White. I'm a small business sales expert. I'm a man that loves helping business owners get great results. Use some of these emails to get the answers that you need back from prospects. And if you've prospected and had conversations in the right way, and use my other resources and videos to understand what's driving the buyer, it's going to put you in a good position to win brilliant business. Thanks for watching. See you soon for another video.